Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Yale. Derek Yale.
No fronting, can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something, let it be no fronting.
We feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions, and this panel comes with different styles in discussing national issues.
I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
If you are living in a glass hut, don't throw stone.
No fronting, can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome back to the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And LRTN for short is proud again to bring you episode 11, season 4 of The Horizon. And as you know, as always, the LRTN is a local media institution right here in Northeast Philadelphia. And we also operate from our office in Liberia as well. So feel free to contact us on our Facebook page and also reach out to us on our YouTube as well. LRTN is presenting the Hard Zone. As you know, if this is your first time joining us, the Hard Zone is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasion. So we have a lot planned out for you tonight. So stay with us before we go any further. Again, I will encourage you to please share this program on your Facebook and also encourage your friends and family to join this program as well. And don't forget to follow this network and also like, share, subscribe to our content that we will bring you every now and then. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host tonight. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. David Talkbet. Mr. David Talkbet, welcome to episode 11 and season 4 of The Horizon.
Thank you, Derek, and good evening, everyone. Or good morning or good evening, whatever.
Thank you very much, David. And again, we took a week off due to the Thanksgiving here in the United States. So if you're in the United States, we hope you had a great time with your family celebrating Thanksgiving. And if you're watching us from Liberia, we hope that you enjoyed the holiday. It was William V. S. Stutman's birthday today, right, David?
Yeah, just yesterday, it was
Yes,
on.
yes, yes, yesterday. So
Yeah, it was on
we
Wednesday. Wednesday.
on Wednesday. So
Yeah.
Liberia observed the birth anniversary of one of the longest serving president, William V. S. Stutman. So we hope you celebrated that day in style. And just to give you a heads up on what to expect on this episode tonight, we will bring you our current event from Liberia and our current event from here in the diaspora. And also, we will talk about the just ended elections in the November 14th round of election where the United Party became victorious, and we would like to, at this time, extend our congratulations to President-elect and Vice President-elect Jose Yamambuaka and Jeremiah Cohn, respectively. On behalf of myself, the network, and this show, we would like to say congratulations to President-elect and Vice President-elect Jose Yamambuaka and Jeremiah Cohn. And also, we'd like to say to the Liberian that participated in the elections, we'd like to say thank you for exercising your civil duty and also for observing a peaceful elections, and also the turnout. The turnout was very impressive, so we'd like to say thank you for doing that as well. And then right after the elections, President Weah did the most honorable thing by conceding to Ambassador Joseph Jimambwaka. And for that, we'd like to say thank you so much for setting that example setting that example for democracy in Africa. So a big thank you to President George Manuel Weah. And unfortunately, doing right after the elections, United Party, when they were celebrating the victory of President-elect Bwaka, we had a very unfortunate incident. Since this is our first time speaking on the horizon, we would like to extend our condolence to the families of the victims of the Broad Street incident. So that's all we have for now. But we'll now go over to David Talkback. But before I do that, let me encourage all of you watching us to please make sure you're following the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And also, please just do us this favor, share this program on your Facebook page so that your friends and your family will be able to benefit from the program we have tonight. So we have a lot in store. We will very shortly introduce our panelists for this episode, and then we'll bring you our topics for tonight. But for now, let me join my co-host, Mr. Tagbe, for the current events he has coming out of Liberia.
Thank you, Derek. Good evening, everyone. You were talking about the celebration of Tatman's birthday on Wednesday. And Derek, guess what? Thursday was the birthday of Joseph Boycott. There were a lot of celebrations at his residence. There were a lot of well wishers. In fact, he was showered with gifts from all spheres of life. And so Joseph Walker today was his birthday, and a lot of people were at his house to celebrate with him. And I've just heard from you people in the diaspora, how we in Liberia did not know Joseph Walker was on his way to the United States. Thanks to the CEO for giving me that information that Joseph Walker was leaving for the United States, and it's likely to be arriving there anytime sooner. But the reason for his trip is what I officially have not heard on any of the radio stations. Perhaps I have to visit the website to know what he's visiting the United States for. But there's so many talk about his visitation to the United States. It's not strange. Uh, the reasons people are given, the similar reasons we've heard during the campaign whenever he was traveling to Ghana, the United States, people saying you're going to see a doctor, he was sick. But whatever the case is, Joseph Boakai being in the United States in the shortest possible time. And another thing, Derek, Joseph Boakai and his Unity Party government, incoming Unity Party government, on Thursday started work. On Friday, is it Friday today? Yeah, Friday started work. Thursday started working. They started a clean up campaign of the city of Monrovia to give it a facelift and to make it healthy as we expect to attend his inauguration next month, January, on the 22nd, just about how to be sworn in. So that's the result. Uh, the transitional team has started working. They've started a cleanup campaign. A lot of volunteers turned out to be part of the cleanup campaign. And so there was a cleanup campaign across Monrovia. I guess we will continue in the coming days to make Liberia a clean city once again. A lot of people, guess, are expected to come to Liberia. Even some Liberians who are in the diaspora will be coming to witness the inauguration of Joseph Boakai next month. Some will be a foreign national, some will be Liberians in the diaspora will be coming to grace the occasion on the 22nd of January. We don't know who some of the guests will be. We're expecting some African presidents or presidents from far away countries will be coming to be part of the to witness the auspicious occasion on the 22nd of January 2024 as Joseph Boakai takes office. Still talking about next month inaugural ceremony. Outgoing President Joshua Derek, I guess you must have heard this. Outgoing President Joshua, just few days ago, or quite recently, invited Joseph Boakai and members of his rescue team at the executive mansion, not in the palace of the executive mansion. Joseph Boakai's team and the team of the outgoing president. It was all about forming a transitional team that would pave the way to the inaugural program of President-elect Joseph Boakai, as you can see in the photograph there. Joseph Boakai, his vice president, and outgoing President Joshua and his vice president Juan Taylor. Those you see sitting there are all officials from Boakai and officials from the Weah, and they forming the transitional team to pave the way for the transition or smooth transition of power from George Weah to Joseph Boakai. In the midst of all that, President Weah continues to receive commendations and and congratulatory messages, meaning that his early concession of defeat, as far as many are concerned, is highly unprecedented in a West African country where not necessarily West Africa alone, but in an African country where the sitting president can easily concede defeat as Joshua has done. So where a lot of people are commending Mr. Weah because as far as Liberians are concerned, had President Weah not accepted defeat or had resisted the outcome of the round of elections, Liberia would have been plunged into chaos. And with the President Weah's early concession, uh, as far as Liberians in Liberia and abroad are concerned, Ambassador Weah or outgoing President Weah has saved the country and has proven to the world that Liberia is a growing democracy. And so, and that's about Joshua. And another thing I can tell you, Derek, is President-elect Joseph Walker, as he is about to take office, has unequivocally said that uh, he will fight corruption. He will audit the outgoing president. He will reclaim all the country resources and others that officials of the outgoing government have selfishly for themselves. So Joseph Walker has unequivocally said or pledged to reclaim stolen properties and resources by the outgoing government. And finally, Derek, what I can tell you now is that the race for the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives is already on. There's so many names we're hearing. Uh, Fanati Kofa, a representative of Grand Crew County. I can remember vividly, readily recall the district in Grand Crew that he represents, for he's a representative of Grand Crew in the legislature. He's aspiring to become the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. Uh, Also aspiring for the position of Speaker, for this position of Speaker is Richard Nangbe Kon. Richard Nangbe Kon is also a member of the House of Representatives from Masurata County. I guess he's a member of the Unity Party. He also wants to be Speaker of the House of Representatives. We also hear the name of Thomas Fowler from the Coalition for Democratic Change, the outgoing Coalition for Democratic Change. He wants to become Speaker of the House of Representatives. And quite interestingly, guess who also wants to become Speaker of the House of Representatives? Yeke Koloba. Koloba was quite recently in Ghana. It was in Ghana. He was sitting in Ghana when he declared intention to become Speaker of the House of Representatives. So, as far as we concerned, these are the four names we do know that are aspiring to become Speaker of the House of Representatives, whoever wins. But people have begun evaluating these people, whether all those who want to become Speaker of the House, whether they have the moral rectitude, most especially the people that place more emphasis on most ability to also wants to become Speaker of the House. That was slipping from my mind. Most ability wants to become Speaker of the House. And so people have become scrutinizing these individuals. For instance, most ability, understand he's a FIFA convicted criminal, though I don't know whether he has been exonerated. People are talking about whether he has the moral rectitude or he has the integrity required to serve as Speaker of the House of Representatives. And and Fanatic Kofatu also has people feel that Fanatic Kofatu also has a criminal record. He was understand he was imprisoned in the United States, but was let alone after going through the court processes. So he was, but people are still saying that that is a stigma on him. The fact that he went to jail on criminal charges, and whether he also has the moral rectitude or he has the qualification to become Speaker of the House of Representatives. So far, Derrida, what I can tell you, yet for Yeket Calabar, people feel that Yeket Calabar, it doesn't have the moral grounds, and it also hostile to become Speaker of the House of Representatives. The fact that he's intolerant, as far as many people are concerned, Yeke is intolerant. He's too rough. He's too harsh, and he's not civil in terms of addressing issues, most especially national issues. And such a person with that kind of emotional attitude cannot become a good Speaker of the House of Representatives. So those are the things people are talking about, these individuals who are aspiring to become a Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. David Takwe, for that splendid reporting on our current event coming out of Liberia. Before I bring you the current event from the diaspora, let me introduce our panelists for tonight. But before I do that, let me again encourage you to please share this program on your Facebook page, and also make sure to follow the Liberia Radio and Television Network. For now, let me introduce the team of panelists we have on this episode. So I'd like to have the panelists on the screen, and then I will introduce our current event for the diaspora, and also our very brief conversation on the current event coming out of the diaspora. Bishop Hager, welcome to episode 11, season 4 of the Horizon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mistress Collins. Welcome to episode 11, season 4 of the Horizon.
Thank you, everybody. Hi, and I'm glad to be back.
Thank you very much, Bishop Cephas Reeves. Welcome to another episode.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Welcome to episode 11, season 4 of the Horizon. Councilor Freeman,
Councilor Freeman is muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And guys, it's a pleasure again to have all of you back on this panel of the Horizon. This is episode 11, season 4. And for our current event from the diaspora, I have this controversial issue coming out of Africa, specifically in Kenya. I don't know if you guys know about it, but the Kenya Parliament has banned one of their own president's favorite outfit, that is the Kaunda suit. And I have a picture of it, because this has caused a lot of controversy on social media or in politics in Africa this week. So that is the Kaunda suit, as was popular.
Kaunda. Yeah. Kaunda.
Yes, Kaunda suit.
In Liberia, we can call it higher hat suit.
The higher hat. Is it also like the French suit? Is that how to call it? No. Yeah. So that is the first post-colonial president of Zambia who held power for nearly 30 years, and this suit was named after him. So on this week, the Kenya Parliament banned that outfit and other African attire, and because of that, this has drew a lot of controversy on social media. So I'd like to get you guys' opinion on this trend. The statement, it says, the fashion trend like the Kaunda suit does not accord with the seriousness of the proceeding of the House and its committees. And the Speaker of the Parliament said on Tuesday, the proper dress for men entering the parliamentary chambers is a coat, collar tie, long sleeve shirt, long trousers, socks, and shoe or service uniform. So, which happens to be a Western attire. So, basically, he banned African attire from the parliament, and he said the proper dress code is a Western attire. So, this has drew a lot of controversy on social media, so I thought it was to bring it here to get you guys' opinion on that. And I'd like to begin this with you, Bishop Hagan. What do you make of this development?
That is a classic example. Thank you very much for neocolonialism. It's unfortunate I think the Kenya Parliament need to rethink a decision. All over the world, different geographical region has certain climate, and their clothing is in compliance with their climatic condition. So when Kenneth Kaunda wore that suit, it was not because he was doing something different. It was based on the humid environment of Zambia. And we need to have our own identity, cultural identity. We It's been so long. Africa have been brainwashed by Western civilization. It's unthinkable that a parliament like Kenyan parliament with high level of expertise and high caliber of people will still be practicing.
I think Bishop Hagar, I think he has,
Frozen.
yeah, he's frozen. But let's give him a couple of seconds and see if he will reconnect. If not, we'll just come.
So
Yeah,
the
I'm
question.
back. I don't know what happened,
Okay.
but
Go
yeah.
ahead, Bishop
So
Hagar. Yes.
for me, I'm totally against that decision. I believe it's shameful. I believe it need to be rethought about. We need to let people know the true cultural identity of Africa. Kenya is one of our leading countries in Africa. For them to make such decisions, especially from the parliament, only promoting Western civilization, I think is a slap in the face of Africanness. I totally disagree with that.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. And let's take you now, Bishop Reeves. I heard you. You were
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Did this give reasons why they were banning the suit?
Well, the reason here it says a fashion trend. I don't know if it's a reason, but this is from the statement. It said the Kwanda suit and the other African attire does not accord with the seriousness of the proceeding of the House and its committee. So that's a speech from that was an excerpt from the speech of the Speaker of the Parliament.
Okay, so that means that that parliament have their criteria by which they want their people to be attired, what they call proper attired. That means the parliament have their criteria. So I wouldn't really look at it as whether they don't want to be African or they don't want to be what they want to be westernized, because that suit does not tell you whether it is African. Okay, it does not say it's African.
It's
Uh,
called the Kwanda and Kaunda suit.
Kawunda, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
Kenneth. The president who's on the screen, his name is Kenneth. Kenneth Kawunda. So because Kenneth Kawunda wore this, doesn't mean that it's African. Okay, the suit that President Talbot wore, the total involvement suit. We labeled it total involvement because that was what President Talbot was pushing, that every Liberian should get involved. But this was the suit that he wore all the time. I cannot call that suit an African attire or a Western attire. So because he wore it, it became his signature suit. All right. So what I'm trying to drive at is that uh, I think that the Parliament of Kenya have their criteria by which they want their people to look. So I wouldn't really shoot it down. If they
Thank
had
you. But
said, yeah, if it's an African attire and they don't want him to wear the African attire, then it's a problem. But
yes,
I don't
staying
think.
on that, and this is from his speech. He said, "Proper dress for men entering the parliamentary chambers is a coat, collar tie, long sleeve shirt, long trousers, socks, and shoes or service uniform." And the controversy here is that describe a Western attire. I think you have the picture of that attire. And he's banning the Kwanda suit and other African attire. And that, according, and he said this is the proper attire. And some think that this is putting Africa backwards. Some things that the fact that they are putting Western attire or African attire is promoting neocolonialism or you name it. So, do you want to add? Do you?
Then that is an issue. Yeah. Then I will side with Bishop Hagar. Then if that is the premise from which they're coming from, and they want to ban African attire in our parliament, then yes, that's a serious problem right there.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Collins. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I do have a problem with it because if he's banning African attire and wearing European attire, and all along they have been wearing this Kawanda suit, and now what is it? What is the healing agenda behind, or what is the main idea behind him banning this particular suit? For example, I know they're calling it Kawanda suit because Kawanda, the president, he was wearing it. It's like Joe, we are wearing the purple suit. Everybody wearing the purple suit because
that suit is called kaftan. The real name is kaftan.
it's kaftan. But now,
because of his agenda, they call it purple. Yeah.
In Liberia, because Joe, he wears it a lot, so everybody call it the purple suit. So it becomes like, purple suit. And so for me, banning it, maybe he has something, he may have his reason, but he had to further explain the reason why he banning it, because this suit have been in existence for a long time. They have been wearing this suit. So why he want a European attire as opposed to wearing that?
Thank you very much. Councilor Freeman, can I get your position on this?
I mean, look, it is true that the Parliament, or what you might call the House of Representatives in America, sets their own rules, their own agenda. They control what happens on the floor. And so the Parliament here in Kenya is no different. They have their own rules. They're in a position to set their own rules and their own agenda. But it gives me pause that they are basically choosing one form of dress code over another. And I mean, I don't think what they're doing seems right, but I mean, I don't know the context. I don't know the full context. Perhaps there's something behind all of that we ourselves we are not aware of. So I can't really opine on their whole life, except that it gives me pause that they're silencing one form of dress code in favor of another form of dress code. But the truth of the matter is, it's within their purview to set their own rules and their own guidelines. And so they may have a reason why they're doing that. But without knowing more, I can't really opine on that. But, it doesn't really sit well with me that it would choose one form of dress code to another form of dress code.
Thank you very much. David, let me. I don't know if you want to add your opinion on this before. Go ahead.
To me, I think I somehow agree with Councilor Freeman. Look, every organization or society or group have their own policies. And as far as the Kenyan Parliament is concerned, that's a policy. That's a dress code of the Parliament. They're not saying no one should wear African clothes in the whole of Kenya, or the lawmakers should not even wear African clothes when they're walking in the street. But they say if you come into Parliament, our dress code is coat suit, nothing else but coat suit. And that's the rule. That's the dress code. That's the dress code. That's the policy of the Kenyan Parliament. So I see nothing wrong with that. If that's the dress code, that's the policy. There's nothing wrong with that. What does clothes have to do with what Kenya want to improve the lives of the people? What does it take from Kenyans? What does it even take from the parliamentarians themselves? But that's the code. That's the dress code of that they've designed for members of the parliament. So there's nothing wrong with it in my view.
Well, if I can come in quickly, imagine David, we're in America, then the American Parliament say, the House of Representatives say that where this Chinese kind of
I want you to go.
suit or where something that have to do more promoting more African cultural identity. I'm telling you, even though it is in the purview of the House of Representatives make their own rules, in the court of public opinion, they're going to be rejected here. They're going to have all kinds of things to say. So they have their right. I'm totally in agreement. They have their right. But listen, what are you saying about those businesses that are selling African clothes? You giving you are giving preference to European clothes in the African culture. They have their right, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't sound good to anybody, man. Let's be honest.
Thank you, Bishop Higa. And just if I may add or ask this question before we take a break, if you look at this legislature here, you see all of their attire is unique to the culture here. If you do the same for Europe or for European legislature, their attire in the legislature is unique to their culture. Now, I'm saying this to say, do you think we should encourage our legislature or parliament to dress in a way that is unique to their culture, or it should remain open, or they should be allowed to choose to either pick a Western attire or an African attire? Do you think what's your take on that? Let me start with you, Bishop Reeves.
We should dress in accordance to our culture.
Thank you. What about and why do you say?
Because I'm telling you, our dress, the different style of dress that we have is very, very, very unique to us. I tell you, when I left the United States 2018 to come to Liberia to start a branch of our church, Action Chapel International. I have a branch in Baltimore. We have branches all around America. And when I left America to start a branch of our church, I changed all my suits to wearing kaftan. And I have different kinds of kaftan. Why am I wearing kaftan? Kaftan is African, number one. Number two, it's elegant. It's easy because you look at the climate. You look at our climate in Africa is very hot, but I can put it on and I can look executive. At the same time, I can go to business casual places. So that attire is comparable to our culture. All right. Now there are other attires that we have, like the country gown. There are other attires that we have in other African countries, like the kente and all of that. Is unique to our culture. So I should think that we need to wear something that will identify us.
Thank you very much. And Mrs. Collins, we have a couple of minutes left for us to take a break. What do you think of that? Do African parliaments or legislature dress according to their culture, or should it just be open?
We should dress according to our culture, because I love it. It's unique, and you can wear it and appear anywhere. You look presentable.
Thank you very much. And guys, think about it. If you look at, again, I'll reference the U.S. legislature. If they all were to wear, let's say, African attire or some Chinese attire and go to the legislature, people will be wondering, like, what is going on? Because that does not truly shows their identity. And again, the case right in Liberia, if it is election season of the lawmakers were to go to their villages, their towns, they dress in the attires of those town chiefs and the people there. So what message does it send when we sit in our legislature and we dress like Westerners? And we're not showing our culture right in our own legislature. So again, before, if Bishop Higa, Councilor Freeman, if you guys got anything to add to this conversation,
make a quick point.
Go ahead.
I know we're talking about the legislative branch of government in Kenya specifically, but look at Liberia, for example. At your foreign ministry, I was in Liberia in 2021 with my family, And I was shocked to know that women are not allowed to wear trousers
Yes.
at the foreign ministry. This is not,
Yes.
we're not even talking about the House of the Senate or the legislative branch or the, whatever. We are talking about a building, foreign ministry, a debilitated building, and women are precluded from coming in there with trouser suit. Now, keep in mind, women can wear trouser suit in a courtroom and litigate a case. In Liberia, your foreign ministry, the rule is you are not permitted to wear trouser suit. So you find out that women who come to do business with lapa around themselves simply because they are entering into that building. Now, I disagree with that, but that is their rules. The parliament, the legislative branch, it's not an ordinary place. It's almost saying that people can be permitted to wear, a lawyer should be permitted to wear his African suit and go to the courtroom. The court, the judiciary has their own rules in place. Lawyers are not permitted to go to courtroom dressed anyhow. There is a dress code for that particular occasion when you are part of that particular organization. In Parliament, they have their rules. It is within their purview to set their own rules. So let's be very conscious of what we are saying, because there is a slippery slope. If you start allowing anybody to wear anything in the Parliament, that's not an ordinary place, right? There's a slippery slope that people can sort of take it too far. So they are setting their own rules based on the nature of that particular organization. Same with, I couldn't walk to the courtroom wearing my, what you call the purple suit or whatever I need to have. I couldn't do that. I have to dress according to that profession.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
but
much.
Mr. Freeman, just one point. What I think we settle on, what Mr. David said. We settle on the fact that that's Parliament. That's their rules. But
Correct.
the question was, here in Africa or Liberia, do we want to dress with a European style of dressing, or do we want to dress African? That was the question I think he threw.
Let me
after
address
we agreed
it specifically. Look, I would not draw any dichotomy between a European dresses versus an African dress. Look, the world has evolved so far that what you're referring to as the European style of dressing has become commonplace in everywhere in Africa. People wear suit and tie. In fact, there are places I know where people wear suit and tie to go to the marketplace to sell. So suit and tie has become so contemporary in our society, as humans, that it is almost crosses different boundaries. I wouldn't categorize it as a European form of dressing. I mean, historically, it is a European form of dressing, but we've come so far that it's hard to make that kind of categorization to say, well, this is a European style of dressing, so therefore we must adapt our own way of dressing. Then again, I say, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting. But again, what I was going to say is that because they have done a very good job at selling their culture, that's why it is widely accepted today. And my question was based off of the fact that we've lost our identity somehow. Why is it that they can set up rules on how people should dress when they go to such and such place, and we can set up ours? And I'm saying here, should we put in place the rules that will align with our culture? Like you said, to the foreign ministry, to the legislature, if you come here, you're going to have to, it's going to be appropriate one, but you're going to have to dress in a way that is unique to our culture. The same way when they go to some places in Africa, they wear their gowns or they wear those African attire just so they can identify the people there. We can make that a rule for our legislature or our parliaments, so that when they come here, they can dress in the African attire the same way when we go to their places to wear the coat suit, the ties, and everything. That's the question: should we set the rules that will make it mandatory for them to wear those attires to come to those places like they do to us when we come in the Western world? That's what the question was based off of.
I disagree. Yeah. No, I don't think we should do that. I think it would be too arbitrary. I think I really don't think we should do that. I think we've come too far as people to set that kind of rule to say, well, you have to wear African. What people wear African clothes everywhere else in Africa.
Why,
Right?
why,
You
why,
can wear the
why, why,
church.
why we shouldn't do it?
You can wear the church. You can wear it in any other contemporary space. I don't think there should be such a rule to say, well, if you come into the parliament or to the House of Representatives or the Senate, you should wear only African clothes. First of all, it will not pass muster. I don't think anyone's going to agree to that anyway. But secondly, I just don't see a need for that. I think people should have the ability to wear what they want to wear as long as it is appropriate. But then again, I will tell you that the legislative branch, it is within their purview to set their own rules. But I don't think we should be setting that kind of rule to restrict people on what they can wear. Now, I understand
Even at the Capitol building in Liberia,
Yes.
women don't wear jeans.
and
You don't
that's
wear
understandable.
You don't wear jeans to come to the Capitol building, and you don't wear sleeveless
Female glasses.
female
Yep,
to
yep.
come there. They will not allow you to come in.
Thank you. You know, we're out of time for this, but I want to ask you a question, though, Councilor Freeman, and this is based around everything we're talking about. The appropriate attire, I may be wrong, for the court in America here is maybe, let's say, a court suit and a tie. Am I right?
In
So-
almost every courtroom on the earth.
Yeah, okay, in almost every courtroom.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is, what is wrong with African attire that you can wear it to a courtroom? If a court in Africa or in Liberia were to say African attire is the appropriate suit for our courtroom, what is wrong with that?
I
There is
think
a rule.
the profession has come so far to the point that they have adopted a certain decorum. We've adopted as a profession a certain professional appearance, and to ensure consistency, I think that is why it has. I don't think there's even a rule per se. I can't think of any rule per se that says lawyers are required to dress in a suit and tie. I have seen lawyers who are wearing different jacket and different pants. Now, I frown upon that as a person because I'd never do that, right? But I've seen attorneys in court everywhere in my state of Maryland and DC where they come in different suit and different pants. But so there's not a rule per se, but I think there is that common understanding. It's almost the unspoken rule, if you will, where lawyers are expected to dress in a certain way. And that certain way for men, oftentimes, is a suit and tie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman, and thanks to all of you panelists for your contribution on our current event conversation. But for now, guys, if you're watching us, thank you so much. Please do us a favor, share this program on your Facebook page, and make sure you're following the network and encouraging your friends and family to do the same. We'll take a very brief break. When we come back, we will get right into our conversation for the night. The rescue train has finally rescued Liberia out of a kleptocratic government. And what is the next move for the rescue train? Where do they go from here? We will have our conversation on that and other things. But for now, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will get right into our conversation.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Jilipan Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to be able to start life in this great your country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, hall rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
So welcome back to Hard Zone. And gentlemen, Derek, before Derek left, there was talking about now that we've been rescued by the rescue team, where do we go from here? There are a lot of expectations of the workers' government. For example, people are asking the incoming government to audit the outgoing government. Already there are people who said auditing the outgoing government will mean a witch hunt of those who were in the past going government. There are people who say, look, they're not auditing individuals, but they're auditing the system. So gentlemen, guys, what are your thoughts? Let's look at it. Is it right for the incoming workers' government to audit officials or to audit the past government? This is the argument on the ground here. There are others who said doing that will mean witch hunt. Others said no, that's the right thing to do to get rid of the culture of impunity. Let's start from Bishop Cephas Reeves. Bishop Reeves.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of right or wrong. I think it's a matter of responsibility. If a government come in and that government worked, that government have to be accountable and responsible. If that government is turning over to another government that's coming in, that government have to be audited, so that they can give account of what was done in the past. And then I think people will be wrong if they start labeling it as witch hunt, if they start labeling it negative, so that we don't do the right thing. It is just what we supposed to do. Is our duty, is our responsibility to hold people accountable for what is being done for the nation. And I think Liberia is what we have to look at, and not individuals or not anybody else.
So how does the government go about doing this, auditing the outgoing government? How does the worker government go about doing it?
But every government will have process by which they follow to audit. That's why we have general auditing services. In every government, we have general auditing services. The purpose of the auditing service is to make sure that the people were responsible and to check and balance. So it's just a regular, normal thing that's supposed to happen. Let us not pinpoint and make it look any kind of way. That's
So
the
when does it
regular
become
thing.
when does it become a witch hunt? When does it become a witch hunt? When it is not a witch hunt, and when it becomes a witch hunt?
No. Well, I don't think it's a witch hunt. when we start talking about witch hunting, when people start going after people intentionally, when they start going after people because they want to settle some kind of score, all right, with those people, then I think it's witch hunt. But if you coming from the general auditing service, and the general auditing service have their mode of operation as to how do you how do you audit the government? What are the different places? So you're not doing anything outside of the norm. You're only doing what the general auditing service is supposed to do. The fact that others did not do it in the past doesn't mean that we have given them a is a pass, or oh, it's something nice. No, accountability is key on every level, even in the Christian faith. As a bishop, accountability to God is important. Accountability to your parents is important. Accountability to your church, accountability on your job is important. So accountability is important. So if we entrust you with a particular kind of responsibility, then you have to give account of what you've done. It's just that people have started putting mud in the water and saying negative about what the right thing's supposed to be. So that's why it looked like people want a witch hunt, but that's what we're supposed to do as a government.
Councillor Freeman, what do you think? What do you think? An audit or let them go and carry their trouble? Or should the incoming government audit the past government, or should they let it go and let bygones be bygones, let them go about their business and you start afresh?
The idea of a bygone being bygone is preposterous.
Thank you.
There is insurmountable evidence of serious financial crimes in Liberia. The child selling waiter market in the streets of a red light market knows that. Individuals that they knew, some of whom could not even afford taxi before they came into government, suddenly became wealthy, while the majority of the Liberian people languish in abject poverty. Look, let me tell you something. In 2021, I visited Liberia and I was invited to meet with Ambassador Barker at his home. I visited his home around 9 o'clock, 9:30. We were there talking to almost 10 o'clock. I was with him and he introduced two other gentlemen, one of whom I usually see by his side was on his transitional team. And my only question to him after our conversation was, will you hold people accountable if elected president? And his answer was swift. He said, you boy, leave that thing. When we get there, you will see what we would do. I'm not calling on President-elect Walker to do the right thing and audit the current administration, and in fact, go beyond auditing them. Conduct criminal investigation, as we say in law, follow the money. And where the evidence lead, go there and indict people who got rich overnight. Because look, I don't even want to use the word they allegedly committed a crime. There are glaring evidence of criminality in Liberia among government officials. So let them go beyond auditing them. Let them conduct severe criminal investigation to hold them accountable. We need to set precedent in Liberia. Corruption is crippling every aspect of that country. If we don't start setting precedent, it's going to go unchecked. So I say audit them, and based on your auditing, your findings, carry out criminal investigation and indict them. And then go beyond that, prosecute them successfully and confiscate the stolen wealth. That's what needs to happen in Liberia. Because
Councillor, before Derek comes in or any other person comes in, there was this thing about asset declaration when the government was coming in. There was the issue about asset declaration. Incoming officials of government were asked to declare their assets. Similarly, I'm hearing that this government is going to do the same. But there were other officials of government, mainly from the legislature, said they didn't have to, in fact, declare their assets. In fact, President Weah said he didn't want to declare assets because of security reasons. Now, if people did not declare their assets and they took office, now they are leaving. Should they declare their assets? How do you know that properties that they own now were properties they had before they took office? How do you justify that? How do you prove that? That those assets, those properties were acquired after they taken office.
Okay. So
let's look at it from the
let's
legal
address the
perspective.
issue of asset declaration. The law specifically require, there is a statute in Liberia that specifically require incoming members of the executive branch to declare their asset. That's law. The statute is clear on its face that they must declare their asset prior to taking office. Okay. Now, if Mr. Weah and his members of his administration refuse to do that, A, they were in violation of the law, and B, they should be held accountable. Now, let me address the other piece of your question. How do we determine whether or not someone has something before they took office? Was that, in fact, your question, right?
Yeah, that was the question.
It's simple.
For example, I'm not cutting you. For example, when you're talking about the wealth of outgoing President Weah, there are people who say, oh, the man played football, he made a lot of money, he had the money before he took off the presidency, so there was nothing wrong with him repairing a house on 9th Street and bidding her because he had his money already. Had he declared assets, in my view, people would have been raising these kind of issues.
But I need you to understand. I need you to understand.
That's the background of my question, in a way.
Yeah, I need you to understand that there were some people in the Weah administration when the question came up about asset declaration. There were some people who were straight up declare their assets. So there are people in the government that have declared their assets. There are a couple of people who have not done, and I can tell you for a fact, Joel Taylor was one of the first people that declared her assets.
And yeah, I wanted to say something there.
Let's consider coming.
Look, every criminal lawyer would tell you, or every lawyer would tell you, that part of the process in litigation is we do discovery. If in fact Judge Weah said he had all this money because he made so much money during his days as a soccer player, we'll follow the money. We'll file discovery to see all his accounts that he had. The government should subpoena those accounts, okay? And based on the subpoena and based on the discovery request and interrogatory request, the government will be able to determine what he actually owned prior to taking office. The burden is going to be on him. It's his burden to prove that he has so and so things. But the government can file discovery requests, the government can file interrogatory, and in fact, the government can subpoena those documents, bank statements dating back almost 10 years. I will go beyond the 6 year in office. If he's claiming he had X amount of money in his account, let's see his account 5 years prior to him taking office. Every account that he owns now, file discovery on them, file subpoena adduces to come. Let the banks produce those account information so you can know exactly what he had there, say in 2009 or in 2012, and let's see what he had there prior to taking office, and after he took office, let's see what he had there. That's the way you determine whether or not someone actually owns something before they got into public office. Because look, the truth of the matter is, look, there's been a lot of stealing in Liberia by people who were entrusted with public funds. And my hope is that the new administration is going to do the due diligence. They are going to hire the right type of people who will come in there to do the Liberian people's job. And part of the Liberian people's job is to ensure that those who have actually breached the fiduciary duty to the Liberian people, they are held accountable.
Yep.
Thank you, Councilor Freeman. And before I take you, Bishop Hagar, Councilor Freeman, I just want a clarification and a question. Just very briefly, though, you did mention that it is a law for incoming lawmakers to declare the assets.
No, I said the statute requires officials of government, I believe it's the executive branch, to declare their assets.
Okay, that includes the president and vice
president.
The
president. Yeah.
That's the
part of the code of conduct. It's part of the code of conduct.
It's part of the code of conduct, correct?
Yeah, part of the code of conduct.
My next question: as far as auditing, how far can the current administration go? Can they audit as far as the last or let's say last 12 years as when previous government official from early administration? Can they do that? Can they audit that far back?
I think ultimately it's going to be up to them. Because
Okay.
think about it, auditing is not a criminal procedure, right? The Liberian government have their own rules and procedure in place with regards to auditing government officials or past government officials. Where it gets tricky is if they find something and they decide to prosecute. At that point, the criminal court restrict them in terms of what you can get. So, for example, the income administration decide, well, we're going to audit 12 years from now. We're going to audit the early administration, for example. They could do that potentially, but they may not be able to prosecute people depending on the statute of limitation.
Yep.
So if the statute of limitation preclude them from prosecuting a crime that was committed 12 years ago, you can audit all you want, but you may not be able to prosecute because the law says you are stopped from doing that because you're outside of the statute of limitation. But they can audit based on whatever procedure they already have in place.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from you, Bishop Hagan.
Well, I mean, the councillor spoke very well. The only thing I wanted to add there based on David's question, there have been some area where, let's say, outgoing President George Weah, we all know he have declared certain assets. Take, for example, when he wanted to become senator, he filed certain financial paper with the Election Commission, and he said he had only $150,000. That's what he said he had. The records are there. When he was suing America here for child support through his lawyer, he made certain financial declaration. We're going to look at those things. Now, somebody say he had $150,000, and all of a sudden everything changed. Then we want to know where his other sources of money came from. So there are records there to really make us to understand whether he was corrupt or not. We're not going to do witch hunting, but I believe the qualified people are going to use the technology, the information available to build out a case to really say this money you have, you got it not from the proper source. Let me be very clear. I want to tell, I hear a lot of politicking. Ambassador Joseph Newman Boaga was elected by the Liberian people because he told the Liberian people he's going to fight corruption. He's going to audit the government. That message resonated with the Liberian people. So while we respect, we are all Liberian, we're talking about peace, but the Liberian people gave Ambassador Joseph Newman Boaga a mandate. And that mandate is, for so long, the politicians have misused the resources of the country, and we got to start on a new beginning. They shouldn't be afraid. Only criminals are afraid of the police. If you're not doing anything wrong, you should encourage audit. If you have not done anything wrong, encourage it. Let auditing go on. But if you have done something wrong, then you'll be afraid. And people telling me, oh, if you want to audit us, audit the past government. I said, listen, I'm a police officer. I arrest a criminal that is committing a crime right now. They say, oh, don't arrest the one that you see committing a crime now. Let's go back to all those who've been committing crime. Listen, we're going to arrest who we see today. The other issue we address it subsequently. But the people that are in our hand, we got to arrest them first. That's how it goes.
Thank you, Bishop Hagan. Let me stay with you and ask you this question though. I don't have this information, but I will ask you this question though. I think President-elect Joseph Newman Boaga must lead by example, and I say this to ask you this question: has he declared his assets? And do you think he's going to declare his asset and also make sure will he declare his asset in full and make sure that his government officials declare the assets before day one of his tenure?
Including Bishop Hagan. Will declare assets?
We don't know. We don't know yet.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Listen to me. Read my lips.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you, Ambassador Joseph Newman Boaga is an impeccable.
We're done with the campaigning. We're done.
Yeah, don't put that right, my man.
Go
Straight
ahead.
Listen
talk,
to me.
go straight to
He
the thing.
is.
It's a,
He have already declared. The man told you people from everything that he actually took money from the bank. He paid the bank back their money. He told loan. He never had any financial position. The man will tell you exactly who he is. He's not going to steal Liberian money. Yes, he's going to declare his asset. That asset, you can go inside and check everything, verify everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Derek, I'd like to ask Councillor Freeman, saying he comes on the legal background.
David, before you do that, let's hear from Mr. From Mr.
Oh,
Collins.
Mr. Collins. Oh, Mr. Collins, sorry.
Yeah. So the outgoing government shouldn't be afraid of audit. If they never did anything, if they fail that they did everything right, they shouldn't be afraid of audit. Plus, we have to start from somewhere.
thank you.
For too long, the Liberian people have suffered in the hands of these politicians. And resources has been depleted over and over. Liberia is too rich for people, for children to go hungry, go to bed hungry. If you visit Liberia, you will know what I'm talking about. People can afford a meal a day. The resources just in the hands of few people. So we shouldn't be afraid. They shouldn't be afraid of audit. And we have to start from somewhere. Uncle Joe better deliver to us. Corruption got to start. Corruption have to start, and we have to start from somewhere. And anybody in his government that will start corruption, he should prosecute them to the letter. I wholly and surely agree that he should start from somewhere. They should be audited.
Thank you very
He
much.
must declare his asset too. Everybody gonna declare their assets. As soon as you say you're director of this, you must declare your assets. So when you leave, you will know how much you got there and how much you will leave there.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Collins. And David, you can ask
Freeman, talking about auditing the outgoing government. You know, there are people who are very so smart that to catch them is very difficult to catch them. For example, we've heard about officials of government who've unfairly acquired properties and monies. They put these monies in the names of family members, daughters, brothers, family members, so that this kind of stolen properties or wealth can be traced. How do you determine such stolen properties? It's not in my name. My name is Joshua. I'm the outgoing president. People said I built a lot of buildings. Why if the buildings are in the names of family members and not in your own name? From the legal perspective, how do you track these kind of properties or stolen wealth?
Well, I think it's going to require a savvy prosecutor, one that thinks outside of the box. But it's not all that difficult because look, we're in a time frame now as a society where people are not keeping millions of dollars under the bed, even though it happens in other areas. But I suspect for example, if a former minister of state, for example, wanted to give $200,000 to his sister, more likely it's going to be done through some sort of wire transfer, right? From a bank to bank. You say, okay, well, sister, go open an account. I'm going to send you $1.5 million tomorrow. So $1.5 million suddenly leaves his account and it's being transferred to someone else's account. The government has the ability to subpoena all of those records because they're doing a criminal investigation. And let me tell you a story. I was recently in a case where we filed for discovery and the defendant, or he was the plaintiff provided us a check. And that check, in part of the discovery, a check for $150,000. But the check was written in his first name, right, to do some business. But the money came from money that belonged to the family. So once that record came, we got access to that record. We wanted to know how why that money was given to the friend, for what purpose it was given to the friend. He also want to know the time frame. So the same thing can happen here. You look at all of their various bank accounts. You subpoena those records. You file discovery record. You talk to witnesses pertaining to those issues. You go in within the community and talk to people. Look, Liberia is a small country. Everybody know what McGill owned before he became Minister of State, for example. Everybody know what. Yeah, people know what these people own before the guy in government. So I think in the case of Liberia, it's not going to be all that difficult. I agree that in some instances, when someone actually gave money to his sister, the question becomes, how do you really get that money back? But you subpoena that record. In fact, what I would say is that you subpoena the sister's bank account. And if she does not comply, you charge her as accessory to the crime or facilitator of the crime. So not only are you going to charge the brother now who stole the money, but if the sister is obstructing justice, you also charge her for a crime. That sort of incentivizes the sister to comply with the process. So the law is already on the books in Liberia for them to properly and diligently hold those people accountable. You just need a prosecutor or, investigators that are savvy, that are willing to actually do the job.
Thank you, Councilor Fremont. And I'll come to
Well,
you.
I just want to tell you already got a job, my friend.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Bishop Reeves, let's stay on this auditing conversation. But let me ask you this question, Bishop Reeves. I know earlier Bishop Haggard, he made a commitment to the Liberian people that he know that President-elect Joseph Yema Boakai is going to declare his assets. Now, my question, because I'm not really knowledgeable on this history of Ambassador Boakai, did he declare his assets before he sat as vice president for 12 years? And I'm asking that so we can be able to compare those two assets, the one he will declare and the one he declared before. And also, do you think that Ambassador Boakai, though we understand that it might be us out of the statute of limitation, because during the campaign period, they preached this politics that he's a man free from corruption, even though he hasn't made himself available to any auditing. Do you think, Bishop Reeves, that Ambassador Boakai should set the example by first having himself audited during his time in government, let's say his 12 years as vice president, up to present, before he can start auditing other people? Let's not forget, there has been allegation of his involvement with corruption. The president of Liberia even made mention in one of his campaign trails that he did pay for Ambassador Boakai medical expenses. We don't know whether it was just a general gesture or it was some other means. So I'm saying, do you think President-elect
Boakai, the president decide to pay for?
I'm not saying it's corruption. I'm not saying it's corruption. I'm just saying let's not forget there was an allegation. We don't even know whether it's true.
Right.
We need the president. Do you think the president-elect should set the example by being the first person to be audited, declaring his assets, so that we can do the comparison, so that we can say, yes, this is the man that will get the job done, instead of just promising a labyrinth or just mere fiasco? Bishop Reeves.
Okay, so I would say that I'm not gonna go back to Joseph Yema Boakai, president-elect, 12 years when he was working back then. I will not go back there because of the statute of limitation. I would say I agree that President Boakai should declare his assets to set example. All right, because when he worked for 12 years in the previous government, it was this government responsibility to audit when they came into power the government before. So if they choose not to audit, I'm not going to say because Joseph Yema Boakai is set example, he should go and audit himself for the last 12 years. No, I wouldn't do that. I would say he should declare his assets. Everybody else declare your assets. So when they get in, they can now say, look, this government we're taking over from, let's audit them. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's audit the people. Let's all stop putting this thing in the atmosphere that somebody want to witch hunt, somebody want to do this. No, this is just the right thing to do. When you hand over power from one government to the next, you come and give accountability of what you've done with the people's funds. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bishop Higa. Let me hear from you. Do you think Ambassador and President Leb Waka should set the example? And Bishop Reed
No,
did not
no,
question this.
no.
You say
Okay.
I did not answer the question?
No. You didn't answer the question, but you did not touch on whether Ambassador Waka declared his assets before sitting
Let
as
me
I don't
answer
have
the
records.
question.
I don't
Let me.
remember that.
No, I understand. That's why I'm about to ask Ambassador and Bishop Hager, do you have record on whether Ambassador Bwaka or President-elect Bwaka declared his asset before sitting as vice president for 12 years?
Yeah. I will thank you very much. I'm going to quote from 2005 when Ambassador Joseph Yuma Bwaga served as vice president to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The front page Africa report is right before me here. Liberia President Ellen Sirleaf declared asset at tenure comes to an end. She mandated all her ministers, including vice president, to declare their asset. So yes, it was mandatory. Go to the front page. I will send a link to you. So in 2005, when they were going to the presidency to take over leadership of this country, she mandated all of them to declare their asset. And Joseph Bwaga, one of those that declared his asset to work with in the government. Thank you very much.
Do you have record that he declared his asset?
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm quoting from the newspaper. Then you say, do you have?
No, you're quoting that it was mandatory. Do you have record of him declaring his assets?
You are the journalist now. You can subpoena the freedom of information. There's a law in Liberia. You can subpoena the Minister of Justice right now, and they will give you the record.
Bishop, just let's leave that thing and say we don't know.
No, I'm just telling him.
Yes,
but
you don't know.
Telling him
but let's move forward.
Yes,
we're not going
the
back.
Access was declared. He's telling me, how do I know? I say, this is a professional journalist there. David, he has the right to use the Freedom of Information Act to go to the Justice Minister and say, yes, I'm saying yes.
Yeah, 2005 when Ellen took over, she asked all her cabinets.
Yes, I'm saying,
all
David, you can go there and check
all
it
the
on.
government officials to declare their assets.
That's what I'm saying.
She did. She did say
the question.
Yeah, but the thing is that asking President Johnson Sirleaf asking an official to declare their asset is one thing. For complying is another one. So that
that's what I'm asking
tonight, David. I am saying tonight, looking at the person that I know, Ambassador Joseph Yuma Bwaga to be a man that followed the law, he did declare in obedience, in compliance with what the president said. Now, if you have any doubt, check the records. That's what I'm saying. You, the journalist.
You're Bishop Higa. Let's go ahead, Councilor Freeman.
Let me tell you what the law actually says on the issue of asset declaration. Okay. It says public officials must declare their income, their assets, and liabilities at specific intervals prior to taking office, at the end of every 3 years, on promotion or progression from one level to another, upon transfer to another public office, and upon retirement or resignation. Now, so it's not just about the assets, right? I know we sort of honing down on the asset, but they also have to declare their liabilities, okay? But I think what I found more important here is the idea that they have to do it every 3 years. Now, I'm not sure most of those guys declare their assets and the liabilities every 3 years. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that is how to track, corruption. Because if someone came in with $50,000 in the account and you don't require them to comply with the law and declare the assets after 3 years of being in office, that person accumulates. Most of the guys who got so wealthy overnight accumulate millions of dollars. And like David said earlier, they then start dispersing those money in relatives' accounts. It becomes so hard to really track down. So it is important for them not only to declare the asset when they are coming into office, but according to the the statute, they have to do it in 3 years, every 3 years.
Thank you, Councilor Freeman, for reading that out to us, and I will come back to you, Bishop Hagar. Now, Councilor Freeman just read the law. That is the law. Now, should we say that based on what Bishop Hagar know about President-elect Joseph Yema Boakai, he did comply with that law and declare his asset 3 years? Or do you have something solid? Like want to know that and President of our former Vice President did declare his asset.
Okay. Well, I'm saying what I'm saying. If you have any doubt, you bring your evidence. That's all.
This is not for my doubt.
on,
Let me just clarify. The reason I'm asking the question, Bishop Hagar, because you may mention that we're going to trust your word that President-elect Boakai will declare his assets. Now, I'm asking this question so that the Liberian people can be able to compare both assets. So I don't know what he did. You just said it was mandatory. I take that information. Now, did he comply? That's what I'm asking you. But you're saying, well, based on what you said, that based on what you know about him, he sure did. Is that what the Liberian people should take?
You ask me, I say yes, he did, because he's a man that obeys. That's it.
Go
ahead, David. Go ahead, David.
So now, Derek, go ahead. I'll come back with my question.
Yes. And let's just continue on Bishop Hagar. Now, do you agree with Bishop Bishop Reeves when he said that he doesn't think Boakai needs to have himself audited during his term as vice president for 12 years based on the statute of limitation? Do you agree with that, or do you think otherwise that he should set that example, have himself audited, even though it might be outside the statute of limitation, but just to show the Liberian people that he has a clean hands and he is the one to do the job, to set an example to fight corruption in Liberia? What is your position on that, Mr. Hagar?
Ambassador Joseph Boakai welcomes any kind of forensic audit. He's a man I believe in integrity. He have said the auditing will be comprehensive across every spectrum of our governmental institution. The auditors are not going to stop anything to say we're not going to reach the other person. They are welcome to audit him for the past 12 years as vice president. We have nothing to have.
Mr. Hagar, you're speaking like the official spokesperson of the Unity Party or the office of the president-elect. That's how you.
Perhaps you have been taped to be the information minister.
No,
however, the question I wanted to ask, perhaps Councilor Freeman can look at it. In recent I've started hearing this terminology about exit declaration of assets. That is, officials of government who are leaving offices now should declare their assets. I've been wondering what does that mean? The person work, he declare assets, go into government. He leaving again, he should declare assets. What does exit declaration of assets? Tell us about that.
We want to know what you have before and what you getting.
Look,
exit declaration. I think I heard it from the LSCC acting chairperson. Exit declaration of assets.
Yeah, look, I too have heard it. Someone contacted me a few days ago and said they were asking the current administration officials to declare their assets prior to leaving office. Unless there is something in the statute I haven't seen, but the statute does not mandate, from my vantage point, does not mandate officials of government to declare their assets upon leaving office. So look, I'm going to be closely watching this. I don't know of any statute that requires them to do so. I'm not sure how the incoming administration is going to actually ensure that they do so, because the statute on its face doesn't really say that, unless LACC has some sort of internal memo. But even if it's an internal memo, they will not be required to comply with it necessarily, because it's not the statute, it's not the law.
Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. And guys, before we go for break, I will say this, and then again I'll come to you, Mrs. Collins, and then I'll take Bishop Hagar before we go for break and move on to our next discussion. Now, the issue of auditing, like David asked earlier, I don't think it's a whether they should do or let the administration go. I think it's a must because it is the very first step in fighting corruption in our dear country. And we all know how much corruption has impacted our country negatively. So I think it must be done. My thing here is it has to be done correctly. It has to be done on a non-biased approach where it would not be like a
Yeah.
witch hunt for one
It must be
party.
done holistically. Yeah.
Holistically, that's how it
Yeah.
must be done. And I think the best way to achieve that is not just President-elect Bwaka, but his official. They should be the ones setting the example, because you can't come tell somebody to wash their hands if your hands are dirty.
Already,
So
yeah.
you're gonna have to set the example. You're gonna have to show that, hey, I'm coming to the office with a clean hands. So Ambassador Bwaga, he has a really big task. He has a really big task to fight corruption, to audit that government. I think he should, he must, and he must set the example with himself. He must set the example with his government officials. So again, before I take a break, I would like to come to you, Mrs. Collins. Give us your last word on this. How should President-elect Bwaka approach this auditing? And then I will take and Bishop Haggard and Bishop Reed. If you have anything, I'll let you determine.
Yeah, let me ask something to that question. How does he approach the auditing and to avoid people thinking that it's a wish hunt? How does he approach it to
Well,
dismiss the mentality or the perception of people that will be wish hunt?
you know, yeah, if you know we are talking about audit, they should be audited, and I do agree, and everyone agrees, yeah, that we should, Ambassador Bwaka should audit on the past government. But before the audit is done, when he have his cabinet in place, his government in place, appointed people, everyone should declare their assets before he start with the audit, because we know why they're coming in with. And when he's setting up the audit team, it should be credible people. Even though you can't test human being like you testing food, if you put food in your mouth and does it taste good, you can spit it out. Some people that you will be appointing, some of them may not be credible. But so what I need him to do is he has to be very careful who he appointing on the committees. It should be a committee or other committee that will be able to audit them, credible people that will be able to do the job the right way. So that way he will not be embarrassed, or that he can't embarrass himself and let the Liberian people down.
Thank you. Before I take you, Bishop Hager, someone argues that there will either not be an audit conducted, or there will be one, but with a findings that defies common sense. For example, they're going to say XYZ government official did not steal anything. What do you say to the argument, and give us your take on the approach to auditing?
Everybody in Liberia has their opinion on everything. We're not going to be lay emphasis on people's opinion. What I can tell you here tonight is that Ambassador Joseph Yuma Bwaka came with the mandate to rescue Liberia from many years of mismanagement. We have the human resources, and I just want to remind you what Councillor Freeman said. The laws are on the book. Liberia have one of the best laws, so we're not writing new laws. We have the institutions. We have the auditing bureau. We have the Liberia anti-corruption agency, whatever you call commission. What we are going to do is to give them the political power. The president going to make sure that, listen, you were created to do the work of the Liberian people. What are you guys doing? The laws are there. The people need to be audited. We need to get a report. This president is not going to leave any stone untouched. Watch my word. We're going to make sure that the government institutions are not just lying down dormant. They are going to work. They are going to work for the Liberian people.
Bishop Hager, It's a
Yes.
very strong message, but it's at the wrong time. That is a campaign message. The campaign time was for making promises. We're asking you to tell us how he's going to do it.
How are you going to do it?
Yes.
You will bring together the best mind in auditing. Make sure you use technology, live it with all the different international partners, all the banking institutions, get all the information, and put a strong case against anyone who have stolen the Liberian people money. We are going to make sure we get the money back, and we're going to use the money to put drugs in the hospitals, get children food to eat. We're going to do it. Watch my word.
Well,
We're going to do it.
let me just ask you. Let me ask you this question though. What about those individuals that are already sanctioned by the U.S. government?
We're going to use that. The U.S. government share the information with the
Mhm.
government, that the outgoing government, and it never had a political will because they are clique. They are just bunch of clique. But we're going to make sure we'll use the information from the U.S. government, and if possible, we'll start from the guys from even taking their senatorial or legislative position
What
because the
about the
laws are
ones?
there.
What about the ones that are already sitting in those positions? Like for example, Prince Johnson.
Prince Johnson was sanctioned for corruption.
I said sanction. I didn't say what it was for.
Okay. Prince Johnson case, the American has issue with the human rights issue. And of course,
Oh,
we
so
are both,
you'll be doing that based on the case.
it's going to be evaluated case by case.
Okay, let's hear from
Look,
you.
look, Darren.
Let's hear from you, Mr. Reese.
Look, let me tell y'all something, okay? Here is the way I think we need to go. Right now, the country is bleeding and divided. The first thing we need to do is to preach reconciliation, unity, oneness to bring the country together. That's the first thing that needs to happen. The second thing that needs to happen is the incoming government, president-elect, and everybody else need to declare the assets. Once they declare the assets, after they've done with that, then the president now need to issue an audit to audit the past government. I don't like the tone of what we're talking about. We're making this whole thing look like somebody is trying to run behind somebody. Somebody is trying to witch hunt somebody. No. This is the law. This is the way. There are procedures of how you run government. When people are coming in, there are ways by which you can audit them, let them tell us what they did with the responsibility we give them. So it's something very, very simple. Audit the people. And after that, we move on with the country. This is supposed to be Liberia first. We're not looking at individuals. We are looking at the country. So we need reconciliation. People need to declare assets. We need to audit the past government who is coming, who is turning over to tell us, okay, this is what we did. Audit them. Then we need to move the country forward.
Bishop Reese, you just said,
I have a
yeah,
question,
I come Bishop here, I want to ask Bishop Reese this question. You just talk about division, a divided society.
Yes.
Liberia is. And you are also at the same time emphasizing audit, which will also create bad feelings and even further divide us because of these bad feelings.
I disagree with you 100% because auditing any past government is what is supposed to happen. That is the right thing to do. But you guys are trying to make this whole thing look like if you audit somebody, it means you are witch hunting. No, we're only holding people accountable for what they've
Bishop
done.
Reese, you know,
Period.
the question we are asking them because these are things we're hearing from people in the streets and in the community since the audit business came about.
It doesn't mean that the country should not be run the way it should. We have laws on the books. We have policies and procedures on the books. We have to follow the policies and procedures so the country can go forward. The fact that you're holding me accountable shouldn't make me feel like, oh, this man is witch hunting me. No, if I am a big boy and I have this particular position that I'm supposed to be accountable to the country, then let me be accountable. Then after I've done what I'm supposed to do, I need to tell you, okay, this is what I did. This is what I did. Here's my turnover note, so that you can have something to now run the country to go forward. That is the right thing to do, folks. That's the right thing. So you stop this whole thing about, oh, when you come now, other the people, no. Stop that. That is the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves. I think David's point is auditing will further divide the country. So
I don't agree.
How
So
will
where do we start
auditing
from?
how will auditing divide the country?
I don't agree.
How will
well,
it
let's
divide the country?
let's hear from you. Let's hear from you, Bishop Hayden.
The scenario you gave me is, David, let me ask you. We have a lot of armed robbers in this community, and you send a police officer to go and arrest the armed robber and put them in jail. So, oh, because you arrest all our children there, so the community will not be at peace? Is that what you're trying to tell me? If anyone is found stealing, the law must take its course. If you are not an armed robber, you're not a criminal, why are you afraid? We're not coming for everybody. We're coming for those who have misappropriated the Liberian people money. I think every Liberian need to be happy, even from the opposition. Say, yeah, this country has blessed so much. We have lost so much resources in the hand of corruption. We all need to welcome it. Why would people find it as an issue that would divide us? It's the right thing to do.
If I may interject,
Go ahead, Councilor Freeman.
I see where Bishop Reeves is coming from, but I clearly see where David is coming from.
Thank you.
I understand David's intention behind the question. Here is it. Liberians are polarized on the most simplistic stuff. They politicize everything. The chatters in the town among Liberians, even we see on social media, among ordinary Liberians, they talk about the idea of witch hunt. It's been infused in their minds already that should officials of government be held accountable, that is equated to being witch hunted in Liberia. The ordinary Liberians that support a particular political party have now started evaluating for themselves the meaning of auditing. They actually form their own perspective of what auditing means. And for most of them, they are being told, oh, they won't come and witch hunt us. And so based on that, understand now, almost over 80% of our population, they're illiterate people. Whatever you tell them or whatever is being told to them on television or on radio station or on social media is what they're going to gravitate to. So a lot of the people, the ordinary Liberians themselves, who align with these political parties, they have formed an opinion based on what they're being told by people in elected offices. So the current administration that is going out, they are now creating the perception that, oh, they're trying to witch hunt us. And I think that's where he's coming from. No, auditing is not going to divide us. But there are folks that want the people to believe that that's what's going to happen. That by the mere fact of auditing means, oh, they want to witch hunt us. They're not telling the people that's how it's supposed to be. That's the right thing to do. Because we, in fact, know they don't want to be audited. And if they create all this confusion among the people, because the people themselves don't really understand the true meaning of what audit means, and it's in the interest of the people and it's for accountability, most of our people don't understand that. And so therefore they think, oh, why you want to audit the people? And they therefore equate auditing to witch hunting. It's not going to divide nobody. But unfortunately for our society, Liberia, too many of our people don't understand simple things, and they're quick to be confused.
Yeah.
Then, Councilor Fremont, then this is what I'm going to do. Then, based on
You
what
educate
you
them
just
first.
said,
Yes.
I will hold Derek, I will hold David, I will hold
To educate the
the
people.
fourth estate responsible
Thank
for
you.
taking this country to where it's supposed to be. Because
Thank
if
you.
the fourth estate can begin to speak on the right subject and begin to educate the Liberian people
Educate
on
the
the
people
way
first.
things supposed to be, because everybody will listen to Spawn, they will listen to R18, they will listen to all the news media. The fourth estate is the one that is going to take Liberia to where she's supposed to be. Why can't we audit the legislature?
Thank you.
I can pull a lot of things now concerning the legislature and what they're supposed to be audited as well. So if
they're not doing the job.
If the fourth estate can push this agenda, then the common sense people will say, oh yeah, the news people telling the truth. So let's audit the legislature. Let's do this, let's do that. But if the fourth estate is polarized, then there's a problem with our country.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves. Let's hear from you, Mrs. Collins, and then I will come back to you, Bishop Hager. I have a question.
Audit. We gotta start from somewhere. That's all I said. It's not a witch hunting. Let's educate the people. Let them know that audit is not a bad thing. Audit is just holding the people accountable for their job. They were given a mandate. And let's make sure that everyone be audited, everyone declare their assets. Moving forward, every government official or elected official declare their assets. If the book say every 3 months, every 3 years, that's what should be done. Every 3 years, they review it and see what you have. It's simple, but we have to start from somewhere, because if we don't audit this government now, the next government, will you audit them?
No.
There are two institutions there that can be audited: the NSA and the legislature. National Security Agency.
Thank you very much. And I'd just like to go back to, I think Bishop Reeves and Mrs. Collins touched on it. I think everything starts with whether it's auditing or uniting the country. It starts with the fourth estate. You cannot achieve that with a polarized fourth estate. It is that simple. It will cause serious chaos. And to you, Bishop Hager, I know you asked David earlier, how is auditing going to further divide the country? Now, let me finish this picture for you, because just a few episodes ago, you stated that if any president were to or tell the U.S. government to come and pick up Prince Johnson from Liberia to prosecute him for his war crimes, how would the Nima people react? It will cause serious chaos. And the reason I'm mentioning that, because let's be honest, if you do serious auditing in Liberia, or if you do it right, a lot of people will lose their homes. A lot of family will go poor, because we saw vividly how they accumulated those money. How do you think those people will react? If you're going to audit them, the very first step is to educate them. Not just auditing, but making sure that people are persecuted for the crimes they commit. If you want to set the standard, set it for everyone, not just on corruption, on war crimes, on crimes that were committed. People should be persecuted for their action. They should be held accountable for government funds that is stole. So it will not divide the country if we properly educate the people. If we try to depolarize the fourth estate, we can achieve that. But we cannot say, oh, all of these people, it will not put the country into chaos. But then when it comes to Prince Johnson or other war criminals, we'll be like, oh, we will observe the case and things like that. It has to be done on a full scale. So someone can say, oh, because my mom stole money, so they stole everything from them. But Prince Johnson, that killed a lot of people in this country, still get to live on taxpayer money. That will further divide the country. I think that's where David was coming from. And you had a position on that when it came to Prince Johnson. So I think, like Reed said, the education is very important. If they will hold on to auditing and make sure they try to educate the public on that before they can do the auditing and then unite the country, I think that way they're going to achieve the success that they desire. But let me give you the opportunity, Bishop Hager.
Yeah, listen to me. The issue of Prince Johnson, I will stand to say again. Prince Johnson, to other people, he is a war criminal. To the people of Nima County, they just gave him another resounding mandate for another 9 years as their redeemer, their senator. Now, Liberian, as a country, we have not set up any institution to persecute anybody for war crime in Liberia. The only people that want Prince Johnson, the American. Liberia have not created any jurisdiction to say Prince Johnson yet. We have the Truth and Reconciliation, and that was the formula that we decided as Liberians to implement. If we have come to a place where we set up another jurisdiction to try Prince Johnson and stop him from taking political office, the Liberian people will deal with that. We are American here. There are so many cases of human rights violation. American soldiers killed innocent people in Iraq, but they were never persecuted. They are here today free. The Americans said they can't turn their soldiers over to the war crime in Zurich. And the American people know why. Today, I'm not questioning, but Prince Johnson is wanted because there's information that he was in the death of 3 American nuns. We are so sorry for that. But Liberia as a country, we have not set up any jurisdiction to persecute Prince Johnson, and that is where I stand. Any other thing,
you know, that is
What
difficult.
happened with the TLC document?
It was a truth and reconciliation.
I don't want for us to get into this whole Prince Johnson conversation. What I will say is that is very difficult to hear for some Liberian. Because if you can say Prince Johnson is a hero to some, what would you say about Nathaniel McGill? Nathaniel McGill was sanctioned by the U.S. government, but the people voted for him in Margibi County. He's a hero for people in Margibi County. So is that how we're going? Is that how President-elect Waka going to run his administration?
Yeah,
we got to start from somewhere.
I will give you the opportunity to clarify your point.
The point is, Prince Johnson is going to be the longest serving senator.
Till he commit war
I'm coming now. Give me a chance. 27. If he finish, it will be 27 years in the Senate. Nathaniel McGill used the money he stole to influence and get voted in Margibi. He has a corruption allegation on him. We're going to look at that. When it comes to, we got to set up the clarity. They got to be clear on this thing. Corruption with all document and the war, what happened in Liberia. We can all have that conversation. We can all have that conversation. I'm not saying those that Prince Johnson allegedly killed during the war are not Liberian. We're all sorry. War have consequences. But I don't want somebody to say today here that, oh, Prince Johnson is a war crime, Listen, until we persecute him, it's an allegation. In Accra, when we drew up the peace formula, we said truth and reconciliation. And so if you keep and tell the Liberian people, say, oh, I'm sorry what I did, Liberian people will forgive you. That's what they said, and that's what I know. Thank you.
Was it the Liberian people who pushed Charles Taylor to go to the Hague?
Mr. Hager.
It was not the Liberian people.
Mr. Hager.
That thing. Mr. Hager, don't say that.
Mr. Hager.
Liberian people did not send Charles Taylor to the Hague.
Thank you.
We did not send Charles Taylor to the Hague.
So
we did send Charles Taylor to the Hague. No, we did not send Charles Taylor to the Hague because the thing is we gotta be very open. All the country in West Africa, rebel group came to Sierra Leone to kill Liberian. Rebel group came to Ghana to Ivory Coast to kill Liberian. Rebel group came to Guinea to kill Liberian. So all the countries with their president,
so let me ask you.
be in the Hague.
Charles Taylor was hailed by the Liberian people. They even voted him as president. With all of that, they waited. By the time he left office, the people arrested him. And it was not the Liberians who did that. So what we're saying here now is if they arrest Prince Johnson today, the Nima people will have something to say. They will not have jack to say. Let them go ahead. If we're starting from somewhere, we're starting from somewhere. Let it be for everybody. That's what we're saying.
Mr. Hager, I want to ask you a question. Are you suggesting that Prince Johnson is not a war criminal, the fact that he hasn't been convicted? Is that what you're suggesting?
What I'm saying to you, and you need to hear me very well, because I will not be answering the question anymore. David, you're a journalist. I am saying emphatically.
And this is what I'm asking you the question, because I'm asking from what you said.
Emphatically to the people of Nima, Prince Johnson is not a war criminal. He is a freedom fighter.
So to the people of Nima, but what's about you, Bishop Hager? Is Prince Johnson
my opinion doesn't matter. I'm really telling you that the people continue to vote Prince Johnson overwhelmingly because they see him as their freedom fighter and liberator.
To the people of Monserrato, to the people across the bridge, Prince Johnson is a war criminal.
No, but Bishop Reeves, Bishop Hagar already told the people that he's sorry for what Prince Johnson did during the Civil War, and they should accept that. They should accept that, but then his administration will push to penalize people that were corrupt during we administration. Make that make sense. If you're saying to the people that Prince Johnson allegedly killed during the Civil War, oh, I'm sorry. But then in the same vein, you say that President-elect Walker should punish people or to prosecute people that stole during the previous administration. Bishop Hagar, I think the point here is the point we're making. If he's going to do it, he should do it on the full scale.
Thank
He
you.
should do it on the full scale. If you would think about how the other people will react because they see such and such person as a hero, then let's forget about everything.
Bishop Hagar, are you taking a position because Bishop Hagar, are you taking a position because Prince Johnson is a kingmaker that made a king out of the Unity Party? Is why you pushing this line?
Whether Prince Johnson is a kingmaker
and made a king out of Unity Party?
Listen to me. Prince Johnson was a kingmaker for CDC. Prince Johnson always played that role. I'm not the one going to tell you.
There's a dawning of a new day. We're not going back there. We're here.
May I interject?
Yes,
we have given a president-elect Boyka the mandate to straighten things up in our country so we can move forward. You don't go and put mud in the water. Let the president-elect do his job.
You guys are trying to mix up
and thank God that councilor
will do the right thing. We will do
Bishop
the
Hagar,
right thing.
Derek,
Everything. So we're going to audit the government. This corrupt government that's leaving power, we're going to audit them, period. When it comes
Derek got to put your
uncle under control.
Bishop Hagar, let's hear from Councilor Freeman.
Derek, not because Bishop Hagar is your uncle now, so you don't want to control him. And thank God, Bishop. Thank God the councilor is coming in, and councilor, I don't know what he's coming to say, but is it possible that Prince Johnson, who is being shielded by the law, because he's a member of the legislature or senator at that rate, just in case of a war crimes court, is it possible to eject Prince Johnson from the Senate and have him prosecuted? Is it acceptable under the rule of law?
So I think in some of our past episodes, both Bishop Reeve and I pressed the issue of the rule of law. Now, the rule of law simply means everyone should be treated equally under the law, right?
Yes.
The problem I found with Liberia, I think one of the reasons we have so much impunity, even among the ordinary people commit crimes in Liberia and they go scot-free. So far, I'm not even sure what's going on with the kids involving Jessica. And there are too many examples of impunity in Liberia. I firmly believe that the ordinary Liberian person looks at the fact that individuals such as Prince Johnson, George Bulley, and I can go on and on. There's so many of them there in government positions that they've committed some people. You guys are saying allegedly. Look, I'm not going to say it was alleged. The fact is, there's overwhelming evidence that they committed those crimes. It's no more alleged. Everyone knows that.
But then, Councilor, let me hold you there. You say it is not alleged they committed the crimes. But what I do know is that even if you stand and see somebody killing another person, that person is still taken to court. Why is the person taken to court when in fact people have seen him doing the killing? Why do they take it to court? Why it is not?
It's not alleged. The fact is there is a difference between proving somebody's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt and knowing that someone actually committed a crime. You can see that someone shot someone in the head. You know that the person did it, but the government still have to prove that person's guilt because the law says it is better for one guilty man to be set free than for an innocent man to be found guilty. There's also the presumption of innocence, but you can know that someone has committed a crime. Well, the witnesses would testify that they saw the defendant did so and so thing. That doesn't mean the government is not going to have to be required to prove their case. They're still going to prove the case. In the case of Prince Johnson and the George Foley, who is also a representative, I believe, and some of the other ones in government, we know that they committed these heinous crimes. And I think one of the problems we are having in Liberia is where Bishop Hagar seemed to be touching on, and that is the idea that just because the person is from my region or my tribe's man, and so therefore the crime that person has committed, which is simply ignore and say he's my hero, that kind of division is causing a serious problem in Liberia. So the people from Grand Judah voted for George Foley as their representative. That's their hero. The people from Nimba County voted for Prince Johnson as their hero. The fact remains is that they still committed heinous crimes in Liberia that they should be held accountable for. Okay, so look, back to your question about whether or not he can be pulled out of the Senate. Look, Hagar said that there is no instrument in Liberia to hold Prince Johnson accountable. That's not true. Liberia is a signatory to the Rome Statute. But more importantly, what are we saying Prince Johnson did? We say he committed murder. We have murder part of our criminal statute. So who said that a prosecutor in Liberia or the attorney general cannot indict Prince Johnson for murder?
Prince Johnson allegedly committed murder, or he committed murder?
He committed murder. That's not alleged.
He committed murder. Okay, so as Councillor Freeman, if you say you can use the word alleged, Prince Johnson committed murder, legally within the legal terms, when do you use alleged and when you don't use alleged?
Look, I noticed over the last few years when I started following Liberian news that a lot of Liberians quick to use the word alleged. Anything they put the word alleged behind it. And I think that's erroneous. Because you know that someone committed an act. Even in America, for example, you said the defendant shot the victim, plain blank. The defendant stabbed the victim multiple times. We don't say the defendant allegedly did that. Okay, we say the defendant committed the act, right? And when we do that, now it's up to the criminal justice system to prove that defendant's guilt. It's two different things. When you're alleging that someone did something is when you don't have any direct evidence of it. The evidence is so circumstantial that you want to walk that chalk line. There's no direct evidence. But in the case of Prince Johnson, there is insurmountable direct evidence that he committed serious crimes in Liberia. It's no more alleged. We know for a fact he did it. All that needs to happen is to prove his guilt in the court beyond a reasonable doubt. It's two different things. People are say, oh, alleged. Well, let me ask you. You know someone stole your pencil and you saw him stealing your pencil. Is it any more alleged? It's only alleged when you don't know. But it's two different things. Just because you're saying someone stole something doesn't mean he is guilty of it. Two different things, because it still has a burden to prove that guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a legal standard. That's a legal standard, only a legal standard that you have to meet. But doesn't mean he didn't commit the crime. So I can know that somebody committed a crime or I won, unless I can prove it in court, that person still walks free. That doesn't mean he didn't commit the crime. We know Prince Johnson committed a crime. We know George Foley committed a crime, just like we know Taylor committed a crime. And the rest of them that in Liberia who committed all those heinous crimes. Look, until we come together as a country and forget about this whole, the Nima people that is the hero and that the Crown people this hero, we are going to remain divided. The Liberian people ought to understand, regardless of their tribal affiliation, that those men committed heinous crime against Liberians, and they must be held accountable for it. Murder is one of those few crimes you cannot commit and say, well, I did it, unless you have actual reason to say, well, to invoke self-defense. That's why self-defense is one of those areas you have a duty to retreat. Okay, because you cannot commit murder and say it's a crime of necessity. Murder is one of those few crimes. It's not a crime of necessity. You cannot kill someone and say, oh, I killed him because I wanted to survive on the open ocean. I can't go with Bishop Reed on ocean, and because Bishop Reed is a weak person or I'm stronger than him, I kill him. And I said, well, had I not killed Bishop Reed, I too would have died. I needed food to eat. It's not a crime of necessity. So the idea that he's their hero is as if murder of hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, is a crime of necessity.
But the point I was making, you said that there's no statute, and I still to be correct. I'm not a legal mind, but my understanding is that in the crime you're talking about took place during the Civil War. There was no civil administration. There was in war. Everything had broken down. So how do you how do you regulate people behavior in a civil war environment where there's no rule of law, Mr. Counselor?
The Rome Statute, of which Liberia is a signatory to, right, codifies torture, war crimes, and other crimes against humanity. Even though we're talking about in the context of civil war, there are still rules of war, right? And look, the fact is, Prince Johnson engaged in torture. He engaged in the mimicry of human beings. He engaged in all kinds of war crimes, and Liberia is a signatory to the Rome Statute. I think the only problem there is the time frame in which we became a signatory to the Rome Statute. Okay, Prince Johnson's crime may have fallen outside of that legal parameter, which is the same problem that Sierra Leone was having with the issue of Taylor. Sierra Leone war happened within a time frame that Sierra Leone was not yet part of the Rome Statute, so the court in Hague could not bring legal actions against Taylor directly. So therefore, Sierra Leone had to go to the second route. They went to the United Nations and entered into a special arrangement with the United Nations to prosecute Taylor, right? You call it the Special Court of Sierra Leone. Even though Prince Johnson crime and some of the crimes that were committed during the early days of the war, they still fall under the Rome Statute, but because Liberia was not part of that organization at the time, the prosecutor in Hague cannot directly prosecute for those crimes, but we can do what Sierra Leone did.
Okay.
We can go to the United Nations and prosecute them.
My second question,
can we? So, in order for Prince Johnson to be indicted, it has to be the Liberian people that would do it, right?
Let me
Go ahead.
further question. I'm sorry, Mr. Scott. Let me just add your question to the council. What suggestion would you give the incoming administration as far as handling these issues with war crimes, the likes of Prince Johnson, George Bolle, Botnick, and all of them, and also the issue with addressing corruption auditing? What suggestion would you give the incoming administration?
My suggestion would be President-elect Boakai should take the Liberian poor job seriously. There are too many people hurting in Liberia. They're hurting for various reasons. Corruption, individuals committed serious crimes, and those individuals are being rewarded with taxpayers' money every day. They live so luxuriously, the likes of Johnson and Bolle and the rest of them. My suggestion, therefore, is the Liberian government should take a holistic approach and prosecute every crime, okay, that have been committed against the Liberian people, regardless of that person's political or social status in the country. Go after people who have committed corruption, they've committed financial crime, they breached the fiduciary duty to the Liberian people. Prosecute them accordingly and confiscate their stolen wealth. For the likes of Johnson and the rest of them, we need to set a serious precedent. Look, make an arrangement with the United Nations. Liberia has been a founding member of the United Nations, even though the crimes of Prince Johnson specifically does not fall within that statutory time frame, because Liberia was not yet part of the Rome Statute. But do what Sierra Leone did. Sierra Leone made an arrangement with the United Nations to form a special court to prosecute Taylor's crime because they couldn't go through the direct route. In other words, prosecute people who have committed serious crimes in our country so that we can heal. Reconciliation is not a blanket basis of amnesty. Just because we want to reconcile doesn't mean we should give blanket amnesty to people who committed all these heinous crimes. We must reconcile, I agree. But in order to reconcile, people must be held accountable. And just because we want to reconcile doesn't mean we should give everybody amnesty in the country.
Thank you.
So Derek, my position in this whole thing, and I just want to make it very clear that everybody understand me. Okay, my position in this whole thing is we have a new government. This is the dawning of a new day. We have to start from somewhere. My position here, and I will say it again. Let our new government talk about how we can bring all of the political parties that fought mercilessly, and let's talk about how we can bring our country together. Number one. Number two, let the president and everybody else give their assets. Number three, the government that just turn over power to our new government, let that government be audited and give account of what they did. And based from there, we want to move the country forward. So I'm not so much involved in, and I'm being very clear, in the Prince Johnson and the all the different things. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of a government was there for 6 years. Now they're turning over, and let them just give account of what they did. Let the president elect now start from somewhere. Because if we don't do this, if the next government come into power, then forget about auditing. That means we cannot get up and push for them to audit this particular government now. So that's my thing. I'm not going back to all the war crimes and all of that. Yes, Liberians can push for that. I don't have a problem with that.
Are you saying?
But
okay, I get what you're saying. Are you saying that
yeah,
should be their priorities, or are you saying that they should do that and not prosecute every crime like Councilor Freeman said? Or you said that's
I'm
something they should
saying
do later on in the administration?
whatever they need to do later with the war crimes court and all of that, they need to decide how they're going to go about doing that. All I'm saying is this government that is in power, once they're leaving, let them tell us what their responsibilities were, what they did. So let's audit them, yes, and then move forward. We got to start from somewhere when it comes to corruption in our country. That's all.
Thank you. Nah, that's what you want. That's what you hope the new administration would do. Now,
That's my desire.
What is your expectation?
That's my expectation. My expectation is that we will start from somewhere. That the president-elect will say the hard things to get Liberia to where she's supposed to be.
Okay.
That's my position.
The reason I asked for what is your expectation, or are you confident that the new administration is going to do that, or do you think that they would do otherwise? That's what I'm asking. What is your position on that?
I'm in the place of prayer right now.
Okay, all right.
I'm in the place of prayer. My prayer is that our new government will do what she say, and she will say what she's going to do. We want to start from somewhere. That's my prayer.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagan. Let's hear from you, and we'll take a very brief break.
What are you saying?
On the issue of you listened to Councilor Freeman. He said he thinks that the new administration should prosecute every individual that committed crimes against the state, whether it's financial crimes, whether it's war crimes, and you name it, they should be prosecuted in order for us to reconcile. And also, Bishop Reeves said that he thinks that the new administration should prioritize having the outgoing administration to declare the assets so that they can be audited. What is your position on all of that?
Well, thank you very much. We have an agenda as incoming government. We are planning to help the Liberian people, and audit will set the basis for us to really know exactly where we're going to go in our financial activity. Now, when it comes to all the other issues, I mentioned my friend and brother Bishop Reeves talked about bringing all the parties together. It's a good thing. Nobody's against coming together. But we should come together in the expectation that we will be honest and truthful to each other. This country, we all recognize that this country has been abused. Money has been stolen. Just coming together because we want to stick pictures together and say and portray that we are together will not help the Liberian people. We need to be honest. For so long, we have this charade, just coming together. but it never brought reconciliation. It never brought, because there was no truthfulness. Let's be sincere with ourselves. The sincerity start with Joseph Human Bwaga. Be transparent with this auditing thing. Declare your asset, yes. All the government officials declare their asset, yes. Let the government, outgoing government, see what they have done. If they actually misappropriated Liberian people money, we take them to the competent jurisdiction to judge them. We can come back and say, okay, because in the interest of peace and reconciliation, you are found guilty, but we are all Liberian. We can decide to pardon you, and everybody know that you did something wrong. We can ban you from taking political power, but we can pardon you and say, let's move the country ahead. But we can't leave everything hanging and say, oh yeah, we want reconciliation, so we shouldn't judge people. We shouldn't do the work. The government has a work to do, and the government is going to work. Brothers and sisters, I know all the other things you're talking about, Prince Johnson, reconciliation, human rights, those issues are important, but the Liberian people are suffering. There's so much going on. We want to provide jobs, we want to provide safe drinking water, we want to provide health facilities for our people. And the first 100 days, President-elect Joseph Human Bwaga has said there will be no car stop on any major road in Liberia. Watch my word. We're going to work on the road. We're going to make sure that things are working in the interest of Liberian people. Trust me.
The people say I'm beginning a promising dry season, so car will not be stuck on the road. But anyways, guys, if you're watching us, this is the Hard Zone, and here is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists. But thank you for staying with us. Encourage you to please share this program. We will take a very brief break. When we come back, we will answer this one question. We had a very, very, very divided political campaign season. So what approach the new administration will take to unite the country on that basis? And also, what would the new administration do about the polarization of our fourth estate, because that is very important in any democracy. But for now, let's take a very short break. When we come back, we will talk more on that.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching us from. This is the Hard Zone being presented to you by the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Galley. I'm playing host tonight. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. David Tarkwe, and a team of panelists, Councilors Freeman, Bishop Reeves, Bishop Haggard, and Mrs. Collins, who might be joining us again shortly. But again, guys, we're at the very end of this program, and before we draw the curtain to this, we'll just leave you with this question and start up our conversation for the next and final episode, because I want us to talk more on the fourth estate on the final episode of season 4. But we saw the campaign period. It was a very, very divided campaign period. Matter of fact, even the results of the elections shows that the country is heavily divided, with just a little over 50% of our population in favor of the president or Unity Party, the political institution that won the elections, and just a little under 50% in favor of the incumbent President Weah. We know President Weah set a very fine example to unite the country by conceding very early and making a phone call to President-elect Josiah Mampuaka. But the new administration has to do more in order to unite the country, and so that's where the question to you guys will come from. What can the new administration do to unite the country after a very divided political season, and also what method can they put in place to uh, to 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 kind of like reduce the polarization of the media? What steps can they take? So again, I'll bring that question to you guys, and this is going to be very brief because we have to take another break and then bring you the closing remark or the icebreaker round. I don't know if we have anything for the icebreaker yet. But let me start with you, Mrs. Collins, because you didn't speak along the previous segment. What do you think the incoming administration can do to unite the country, and also what can they also do to reduce the polarization of our fourth estate?
I know, with everything that is going on and the mindset of the Liberian people, um, all I want the incoming government to do is to do the right thing and make some right decision. I know it will be difficult, it will be hard, but at the end of the day, people will know that you are doing the right thing to unite people, to bring people together. Everyone go into the election with the mind of winning. There's one presidential seat, but then we have how many candidates?
20.
22 candidates, right?
I think it was
So
12.
obviously, you know that somebody will have to be the president. But then you still going with the mind that I will win. Or the next person still going with the mind that it will win. So at the end of the day, the incoming government have to do the right thing to serve the people, and we have to start from somewhere. For too long, this country has been suffering. For too long, the people of the country have been suffering. And so if he start with the right thing, it might be hard, but at the end of the day, people will know that he mean business and he doing the right thing. And he start with the government by declaring their assets first before he can even think about auditing or what have you. Auditing must be done.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Collins. Bishop Hagan, let's hear from you. What more can the incoming administration do to unite the country, and what steps can they take to stop or to prevent the polarization of our fourth estate?
Well, we will go and travel to the length and breadth of the country, and we'll preach the message of peace and reconciliation among our people. We'll harness the effort of the journalists and all the different institutions to let our people know that Liberia is the only country that we have. We recognize that during this electoral process, the power of music played a major role. We can say from the Unity Party that the musicians really helped us. The kind of music that they were making to promote Ambassador Joseph Human Boagat. We are going to work with the music arena for them to make music that will bring about reconciliation, peace. We're going to be listening to my friend and brother Bishop Cephas to promulgate a message of reconciliation in all our churches in Liberia. The pastoral network, the Liberian Council of Churches, the Muslim community. We want to bring everybody together and let them know that this nation belongs to every one of us. We were divided during the political season, but it's time for us to work. And the president is going to be by example. You will see, he will not be throwing hints. He will not be making divisive statements. He will be doing the people's work. Trust me, he will be doing the people's work, and the people will see results. Let me tell you, Mr. Journalist, when people see good results, they can forget a bad one. So maybe 6 months. After 6 months, all the net men of CDC will be over and we'll be celebrating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagan. Let's hear from you now, Councilor Freeman. You're muted. Go ahead.
I like to go on mute because of background noise. But what Bishop Hagar and Ms. Collins said are all very poignant, very important points to make. And I think it is good that the incoming government has the intent actually propagating their message. But I think another thing that needs to be done is, in my view, the incoming administration needs to form an inclusive government. There were 20 other or 19 other political parties out there that contested, right? And those parties have individuals within them that I believe may have the skill set, the competency, the background to actually contribute to Liberia's development. Whether or not they are members of the Unity Party or not, if that person or persons have the right skill set, I say reach out to them. Ultimately, it should be about actually developing Liberia. It should be about bringing on board the right set of people to get the job done. So that means that the incoming administration may have to step out of its political arena and reach out to form a more inclusive government. If the Liberian people see that the incoming administration is doing this job in earnest, by including other people who may not have agreed with them, but including them as long as they can get the work done, I think that will be a great gesture to reconciliation. And that needs to happen. We need to rebuild Liberia. And there are some people who may not have agreed with you during the election, but they have what it takes to actually rebuild Liberia. Reach out to them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Let's hear from you, Bishop Reed.
Well, I think, like what the other colleagues have said, reconciliation, we have to go across, call all of the political parties, all those who participated in the elections, call them together and just be honest and open with them and plead with them so that we can have an all-inclusive government. And another thing, the George Weah government made a mistake, and I want that mistake to be corrected. Every time you come out of a campaign and the election is won and one person emerged to be the leader, you must immediately come out of campaign mode and come into reconciliation mode, come into inclusive mode. Everything should be Liberia. But if we come out of campaign, we come and one person has emerged, and then we're still saying Zikwe while the government is formed, then it means that we're still in a war mood. We're still in a fighting mood. All right? So I want this government, this elected government, to include everybody, like what Councillor Freeman have said, bring all of the brains together, those who are in the diaspora to everywhere, bring all the brains together, and let's talk reconciliation so that our country can move. Let us not be afraid to start from a place. Let's start from somewhere. Yes, we need to start from somewhere. It's going to be hard, but we need to start from somewhere.
Thank you very much, Councilor Reeves. Not Councilor Reeves, but I'm sorry, Bishop Reeves.
I'm very sorry. Excuse me. The fourth estate. Let me just address that.
Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
yes, you asked about the fourth estate. I didn't address that. The fourth estate. My suggestion is the government, the elected government now, should come up with policies that the fourth estate will have to follow, because the fourth estate has been polarized. People in the legislature have their own press people that will run their own propaganda. People in different ministries have their own press people. So by the time they go and corrupt, do something, their press people will come and back them up. So the government now need to come up with policies that will keep everybody in the fourth estate in a particular direction, so that you can't come out of there and do what you're not supposed to do, because the fourth estate is one of the major players when it comes to bringing Liberia back to on her track to where she's supposed to be. I will stop for now.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Derek and Bishop Reeves, Derek, you like me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you talk about Bishop Reeves struck a good point. But here's the thing. And Derek and others, the entire media in this country is owned by almost officials of government, except for a few that try to be that's struggling to be independent. But all the radio stations, all the newspapers, they're owned by officials of government. Winston Tapper owns one. The deputy director of NSA for operation owns one. Even there's a conflict of interest even in the government. The Minister of Health owns her own hospital that she runs. The Minister of Education runs his own school. Then a lot of the entire, we're talking about the media, but I try to give you an example of how our society really needs to be overhauled. Because I'm a government official, I'm a Minister of Information, I'm a Minister of Education, but I run my own school. I'm the Minister of Health, I run my own hospital. All the media houses are owned by officials of government. So it's a society that really needs prayers and overhauling.
That's why the government need to come up with policies.
It's challenged.
They need to come up with policies
and
that will
the First Union of Liberia, which would be a regulatory arm of the government of journalists that pass from
you tell me what to say.
The Press Union of Liberia has become a toothless Buddha. But Derek, I wanted to ask a question. You said something about Joshua, that Joshua had to maintain the peace in Liberia. He saved Liberia from disturbances. The fact that he conceded defeat. Did he accept defeat as a result of choice, or because a peacemaker, or he had no choice at all? Maybe the panelists can have the answer. Is it because he had no choice?
Whatever the decision was, whatever motivated what he did, the fact is that we have peace now.
Yeah.
Thank you. And David, we do not have much time to get into that.
Yeah. After 5 o'clock in the morning, you're already dazing to sleep.
Thank you. Yeah. What I will say to that is what President Weah did is not very common in Africa, especially in practice democracy in Africa. So that's why that's the angle I came from when I said he set that tone for peace. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for your contribution to that question. Again, let's take a 1 minute break, and when we come back, I will give you guys the opportunity or 1 minute closing remark. We don't have icebreaker tonight, and then I will give some announcement, and then we can draw the curtain to this episode. But for now, let's do a 1 minute break. thank you so much to all of you that stay with us this far. Thank you so much. We appreciate you staying here for episode 11, right to this end. And before I give you guys the opportunity to give a closing remark, let me pick you back on what David said earlier before the break about media institution being owned by most media institution being owned by government official. I would just like to make it very clear that the Liberia Radio and Television Network is not owned by any government official.
No.
I
Nah,
know
don't do
we
that, Derek.
I know. We are the exception. So we're an independent media institution that run our office all in Northeast Philadelphia and Liberia. So this is where you can come for independent reporting. And yeah, we'll have a diverse team of panelists here, and we'll be coming with more information.
And don't be surprised. Derek Bishop Hager opens a radio station. The father Bwaka is coming to power.
Oh. again. If you need the party won't open their own radio station, it's up to them. All we ask of them is when we take our microphone to their officials to ask them questions, they should give us the opportunity to ask our question. That's all we need. But anyways, I will start with you, Bishop Reeves. Give us your closing remark on this.
Mr. Hager has changed his voice. I'm telling you, he's a French. Congratulations, Mr. Hager. Congratulations.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you for tonight. Tonight, I'm very excited, and I'm very optimistic as to where our country is going to go. And I just want to call on all of the religious, the Council of Churches, all religious organizations. I will call on and appeal to them that we need to pray for our country going forward. We need to organize prayer meetings. We need to seek the face of God so that whatever this government is going to do, it will open the door so that Liberia can be transformed. Thank all of you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves. Just right on 1 minute. Thank you very much for doing that. Bishop Hager, give us a closing remark.
Well, I want to take this time today to my president, Ambassador Joseph Yuma Bogart.
I just knew that was going to be the very first thing he was going to say.
His 79th birthday. President-elect, happy birthday to the Liberian people. It was a tough political season, but we are glad that we made a right decision to elect Ambassador Joseph Yuma Bogart. We are very proud of you all. We are very proud. We thank President George Weah for that great decision to honor the will of the Liberian people. It was very wonderful on his part. To the 49% of the Liberians who voted for George Weah, this government is a government for all Liberians. We are not going to practice division. We're not going to practice any vice that would put our country backward. Liberia is 176 years. It is impossible, unimaginable that children in Monrovia cannot get food to eat. So we call upon every one of us, to come together to help support the agenda of this government, to make sure that this government succeed, and we are going to succeed. It's going to happen. We cannot fail. God is our witness. For so long, the nation has been in backwardness, and I promise you, Liberians, rest assured, we're going to manage your expectations. Yes, we're not going to deliver everything, but we're going to deliver something that will put a smile on your face. I can promise you, Liberia have come to a new dawn, a new time where people will smile again and say, yes, I'm proud to be a Liberian. God bless you, and we love you so much.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. And for the 100th time, campaign season is over. The election is over. But again, thank you so much for your contribution.
My radio station is coming. Baby, don't worry.
Well,
I got a physical infrastructure there. It's coming.
Your nephew Daryl will be the station manager.
You know what? You know what my uncle told me right after the election result was announced. He called me. I'm not coming back on your show. I'm not. So apparently they about to start their own propaganda show. They run the Unity Party. So maybe you are right, Bishop Reeves. They're gonna open their own radio station. Anyway, let's hear from you, Councilor Freeman.
Bishop Hager, I think it'd be unwise for me not to congratulate you as well. So I want to say congratulations, sir. And having said that, election is over. My hope is that the new administration, the incoming administration, will adhere to the rule of law. The rule of law is the bedrock of any society. We are in a society, Liberia. Too many things are happening there, and there's no law and order. I hope that the new administration is going to set the stage so that the Liberian people can follow along. And what I mean by that, declaring the asset, holding former corrupt officials accountable, holding themselves accountable when the need arises. That's important. The Liberian people need to have trust in the process, in the system. In order for them to do that, the leadership have to set the right example. I'm hoping that the new administration does that, and more important, that they do the Liberian people job in earnest. The Liberian people have suffered too long, and they are hoping for transformation. I hope the new administration is actually going to do what it can to accomplish some of its goals.
Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Thank you for your contribution on this episode and all of the episodes that you have appeared on. You help us to erect legal checkpoints in addition to your contribution here on the show. So we truly appreciate that. Let's hear from you, Mr. Takwe, and then I'll bring the announcement, and then we'll draw the curtain.
Not much to say, Derek, but just to congratulate Bishop Hager too. I didn't congratulate him because he fought a good fight. So let me congratulate him. But I agree with Bishop Reeves that his voice has become authoritative. Well, anyway, Councillor Freeman, I also like to thank you for always your interjections from a legal perspective. We are learning a lot from you. I specifically, I'm learning a lot from you in terms of the legal, legal role you play on the show. I hope that you keep on the show. Don't be like some people who are planning to leave the show because they have won elections. I hope you remain with us.
Thank you, Mr. Ty. Well, let me just read, I think, one or two announcements here. We will bid our viewers good night. Announcement 1, Apnan Pond, APPNA-PUN, annual banquet and entertainment is scheduled for December 1st, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And the address is the Alloyd 301 W. Cup Pike, King of Prussia, PA. So for tickets, the website to visit is www.appnapon.org. And the next announcement we have here is the FGM/C workshop, and its topic is storytelling. That is scheduled for December 2, 2023, Saturday, and the time is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the location, as you can see, is 5530 Chester Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19143. The next one is the flu clinic event, free flu vaccine event to protect yourself and your loved ones. So that will happen on Tuesday, December 5, 2023, between 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the African Cultural Alliance of North America, 5530 Chester Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19143. That's all of the announcements. And last but not the least, we, on behalf of the network, the show, would like to wish our administrator for the LRTN branch in Liberia, Mr. Solomon Conan, a happy birthday. He celebrated his birthday this week. So Solo Conan, happy blessed birthday. Thank you for all that you do for this network. I like the network try to be balanced. They posted a picture with president-elect and then comments. I don't see no picture here with George Weirdo, but I see where you're coming from. But again, happy birthday to you, Solo
and
Con.
happy Tom.
And Aberton, you know, they're supposed to pour the 20. Maybe I should put him in. Anyways,
All the 20 candidates.
Thanks to you.
Derek,
Yes.
on the on the 9th of December, I'm having a evening of worship in Baltimore, Maryland, and it's intimacy with God through worship and prayer. I would just want to invite everybody to come out, and it will be at Action Chapel International, Baltimore, 6 Izar Court.
Thank you.
I think the poster has been pasted.
I have the flyer here, and let me
Okay.
apologize because I was looking for all of the flyer for this episode. So, like you just said, the evening of worship with our own panelist, Bishop Cephal Reeves. Intimacy with God through prayer and worship, December 9th at 6 p.m. December 9th, 2023. So, save the date.
Thank you.
Guys, to all of you esteemed panelists, those of you that were here, Mrs. Collins, Bishop Hagar, Bishop Reeves, Councilor Freeman, my co-host David Tarquin, thank you for your contribution on this episode. And to those of you watching us,
as we leave, David, I hope you prepare to do a massive interview for me when I get to Liberia for the inauguration.
No, when you come, yeah, just call me. I will be at inauguration. I will be.
Hey, before it's that again, thank you guys for watching us. Again, join us next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's we're gonna be back here. Again, guys, thank you so much, and let me bid all of you a pleasant good night.
Good night.
Thank you.